right? So my thing is like, we do not ever email an estimate. You go sit down and you present item by item and you attach the value to every single item so they can have a complete understanding. Because two things. First, like, yeah, it's just
100%.
Right. I mean, and you and I are going, well, no kidding, right? Well, like, it's totally obvious, but so many don't get this. And I'm like, they have no point of reference.
Are you tired of working more for less profits in your home service business? What if I could show you $100,000 in hidden annual profits in your business in less than 3 minutes? Would you be interested? And not only show you where, but how to create that 100K in 6 months or less without additional advertising or marketing spend guaranteed. Just go to sharpenthespearcoaching.com to see how truly simple it is. That's sharpenthespearcoaching.com. Do it now.
And we are back on the STS Sharpen the Spear podcast with another incredible guest. You know what? I only have incredible guests because I'm blessed. And this is awesome. And Drew Donaldson is no exception. So I am excited to bring him on. And as we always do, Drew, no one knows you better than you. So give us a little backstory, bring us up to speed, and we're going to get into a great conversation.
So I am the CEO and founder of Grow House. We are a growth-centric marketing agency. And really what that boils down to is acquisition and retention of clients. You know, a lot of agencies will focus on one side or the other, or there'll be specialist firms that do one specific thing. We're more strategy focused. So when a client comes to us, usually they come to us with a big stinking problem, and it's our job to solve the problem, not just provide kind of off the shelf the solutions. So we've been in business since right before COVID hit. So that was a great time to start a business. Always fun to have the entire economy shut down for the first full year of business. But it gave us an opportunity to kind of step back and talk to a lot of business owners and hear what they didn't like about working with marketing consultants and marketing agencies and marketers in general. And then we essentially just reverse engineered what a marketing agency should be from our client's perspective. And so we've been going strong since 2020 and a lot of pivots along the way. But sitting here today, a very happy agency owner.
Love it. You know, you said one thing that I really resonate with, and I share this with all my business clients as well, and that's the two things you need to do: get clients and keep clients. That's the key to success in business.
A lot of people are good. You know, it's funny. I was just talking to someone today and I was like, you know, most people are good at one or the other, but it takes a real master of business to be good at both. And it's like, you know, you meet people who do the most amazing carpentry. You're like, oh my, how are you even available to hire? You're so good. Like, you know, you could give Joseph a run for his money. And then you see their business practices in terms of what they're doing to get clients. And they're like, well, I'm just kind of sitting back waiting for the phone to ring. It's like, okay, well, that's why. And then you have people on the other side who are just great at closing the deal and being Mr. Professional. And then when they show up at your house, it's just a disaster. And you're like, my God, I will never hire this person again. So it's a very tough balance to strike. And usually it's one of these things that's never perfectly in balance. Either you're getting a lot of new clients, which makes your retention suffer because you can't spend as much time with each of those clients, or you don't have enough retention and you're able to give those clients really good treatment or really good support. And so it's one of those things that, you know, it's never going to be perfectly balanced, but we do our best to try to keep our clients in balance as much as possible, or in the upward trajectory.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Drew, because like you said, everyone's battling. Like, there are guys who are great at getting the clients, right? And then they can't deliver. Or like, let's flip it a little bit. The guy who does have the time and he spends a lot of time with the clients, he nurtures them and everything else. Let's say all of a sudden he starts getting clients, that actually then suffers. The thing he was good at ends up suffering because he's got all these clients, you know? So now the expectation that previous, you know, for now referral clients, you know, they're not able to refer him, or the people aren't getting what they're being referred to. So if I'm recommending you and Drew's the best and is this, and then of course my friend's going to go with you, but then you come and you did half of what I told them, you know, and they're going to be like, they're not. And what I always tell people, they're not going to be mad at Drew. They're going to be mad at me. My name's at risk because I now have recommended someone who can't deliver the goods that he did for me. So my friend's going to be hating on me and not caring about Drew because he cut him loose.
Yeah.
And I'm left, I can't have dinner with the guy anymore and all that kind of stuff, so it's kind of wild, but.
And like that's a kill shot for a referral. Like you will never get a referral from that person if you didn't treat that referral correctly, or, for whatever reason, their friend comes to them and is like, you told me he charged you $700, to reseal your bathroom. He charged me $1,500. And like that, no matter what. And I think that's, especially in your line of work, that's what gets contractors in a lot of trouble, is because they're really good at what they do. And because they're really good at what they do, they get a lot of referrals. And you're like, great. But it also locks them into a pricing structure, because that's the thing that everybody talks about when we're at a dinner party talking about like, oh yeah, your new bathroom looks great. Who did it? How much did it cost? So it's this self-fulfilling cycle of like, you can't, if you undercharge the first guy and he sends you a bunch of clients, well, you're kind of stuck having to undercharge or not charge the full rate of what it should be worth. And it's just this kind of vicious cycle of like, either you let them down by charging them more, you let them down by not being able to do the work as well as you could, because like, listen, like, I can't go upside down on materials. Like, it's like, if it's going to cost me $500 in materials, like what am I taking home? If it's only a $500 job. So I think it's a tough line of work to be in from a referral strategy, because in my line of work, I can get a referral from someone who's not paying me all that much a month. But when the new client comes in and it's a much bigger scope of work and you can't compare apples to apples, well, then they're not getting upset at the person that referred them and saying, well, he's charging me 6 times as much. It's like, well, different business, different size, different problem. So I really feel for the contractors that walk in to a quote and they get the classic, well, you did it for my buddy for $600. Why can't you do it for me for $600? It's like, well, it's a different project. It's a different day. And that right there is why you shouldn't be relying on referrals as your only source of business. It's a risky gamble.
Yeah, I think it goes to another point too about value. What we teach our clients as well is really increasing the value, over delivering on the value, right? So you can increase the prices to match, right? If it's 4 times the value, they'll pay twice as much as the other one.
Oh, 100%.
So that's like our journey too, is to help our clients understand that. You probably have to deal with it as well from a marketing standpoint. Is, again, apples to apples is one thing, but really, what are you delivering? How are you out delivering the others? And there's another point to this. I'll say real quick. Is one thing I like harp on all the time, Drew. And I don't know how you do this, but they're bidding a house. Let's say they're doing a renovation, and it's $350,000 for the renovation. And they get done with yes, okay, looks good, and they hit send via email. And they send them a proposal for $350,000. And now it's at the stage. Someone called them, wanted them to come give them an estimate on a kitchen, okay, and bath, whatever. So, okay, you go meet them, shake their hand, walk through, do measurements, go back to the office, do an estimate, and email it to them. So when they get that estimate, what are they going to do? What's the first thing they look at?
Bottom line.
Number. Right? And they take the other 2 guys who did probably the same thing, and they're just going to compare numbers. Well, he's $100,000 cheaper. I'll go with him. No explanation, no nothing, right? So my thing is like, we do not ever email an estimate. You go sit down and you present item by item, and you attach the value to every single item so they can have a complete understanding. Because 2 things. First, it's just
100%.
Right? I mean, And you and I are going, well, no kidding, right? Well, like, it's totally obvious, but so many don't get this. And I'm like, they have no point of reference. Do they build kitchens? No. Of course they don't, right? So like, you have to go and do this. So what I tell them, because I go, when you're doing the estimate, that's when you set up the presentation schedule. Okay, how's next Thursday? I'll have this ready next Thursday. You got Thursday afternoon, say 4:00. Figure out the date, set the date for the presentation. That's more important than the estimate date.
Yeah.
It's like...
And here's the thing. If they're not interested in setting up that date, that's a tire kicker. That's someone that's not going to care. They're not going to care about the value. They're just going to go with the cheapest bid. Do you really? And like, that's what you're setting yourself up for by emailing the proposal, is that if you have no pre-existing relationship with this person, and you just send them a proposal, the only jobs you're going to win are the jobs where you are the lowest bidder. That's it. So it doesn't make any sense. I think the other thing that's crazy about home services in general is how easy it is to add value. And I don't think it's obvious because, otherwise everybody would do it. But you know how many times contractors or home service people have been late to an appointment? Almost every time, right? Domino's did this thing back in the 80s, and they got in trouble for it.
I'm a time cop.
Or remember the 30 minutes or it's free? Right?
Yep. Domino's,
massively created a rush. Everybody was ordering Domino's. Domino's was this unknown quantity. All of a sudden, everybody wanted to order Domino's because, hey, if it's not here in 30 minutes, it's free. I'm hungry now. I want food in 30 minutes, right? Now, what if you put on a guarantee as an added value that we guarantee will be on time, and for every minute we're late, we'll deduct $100 from your estimate, or $100 from the total invoice, right? Super attractive. And all you have to do is make sure you show up on time, right? And you know what? If you're a minute late, or maybe you don't do $100 is a little steep, but maybe you do $50 a minute or something like that. You know what? If you're 2 minutes late, they get to feel like they got an even better deal because, hey, he showed 2 minutes late. He's going to knock $100 off the invoice. And at the end of the day, on a big job, $100 is chicken scratch if you're bidding a $350,000 job. The other thing that absolutely kills me with home service, this is specifically for like contractors and painters, and I have a really good contractor right now who does this, but he's the first one that has ever, and I've had a number of contractors work on my home, clean up. How many times has a contractor left my house a mess? Have a clean as a whistle guarantee. Tell them that that you will walk them through, and if they are not satisfied with the state of your home after the project's done, or after you leave for the day, you will hire a professional cleaning crew to come in and clean for them. Or better yet, have that built into your cost. Say, yeah, after we're done, just to make sure there's no dust anywhere, we're going to have a professional cleaning crew come in and clean up after us. Never once have I seen that on a proposal, but that if the guy that was the second highest bidder didn't do that, I'd be like, no, I'm just going to go with this one because I don't want a dirty house after they're done.
For the record, Drew, my clients have professional cleaners who come in at the end.
Perfect.
And it's critical. I'm telling you, and you're right. Here's another thing I do. So all my contract friends listening, if you do kitchens, if kitchens are your thing, here's what I taught a friend who had a kitchen business, and I would do some sculpture work for him. We do some custom countertops and pot holders and stuff like that. But I'm also, I'm a pretty good cook, like kind of 5-star level. Okay. But I didn't want to do this, but I said, you're building a kitchen. This kitchen was $300,000. You know what you need to do? Tell the client it's all done. Invite a few couples over, 8 to 10 people. I'm bringing in a chef and servers. We're going to cook the first meal for you. It's going to be a 3-course. This, and this is going to be amazing. And they're like, tell me they're not going to tell everybody to have them do your kitchen, right? And I'm talking, you got the waiter. They're watching them cook because it's a culinary art, right? It's a performance art. And people can watch on the islands you just built. They can hang out and they can talk to the chef. Are they ever going to forget you? Ever?
Not in a million years. And every person at that party is now going to compare when they get their kitchen scoped out. Well, yeah, but they're not bringing in a professional chef at the end of it. That's awesome. And then that is, again, you can bury the cost in the estimate for that. It is such a huge value add. And like, the other thing that kills me, and it's just going back to that cleanliness thing. And I just saw this the other day, and I see it so often, right? Window guys, the Andersen window guys, right? They install the windows, and what do they do before they leave? Nothing. They don't take off the stupid Andersen window sticker that takes 5 hours to take off the window, right? They leave them sticking there.
Yeah.
So you just paid $30,000 for brand new windows, and now your house looks like a giant billboard for Andersen windows. It's like, take the time, take a putty knife, scrape it off, so that when they look at it for the first time, they go, that looks fantastic. Instead, I'm sitting up there with a putty knife scraping off stickers so that I'm not a walking advertisement. And I can't tell you the number of houses I've seen that on where those things are up for months because the people can't get them off.
Yeah, it's such a great point, Drew, because it's these little things, that seem, and again, when we talk to business owners too, they're so in it, inside their business, they can't see that. They can't see the sticker on the window because of the window. Right. It's the forest for the trees. They can't see they left a sticker on there. They can't see they didn't wear shoe booties when they came in to do the first estimate to walk around. They're tracking their construction boots with paint and everything else on them around at people's house. And they're going to bid on a $300,000 kitchen. Do you think the people who can afford a $300,000 kitchen want you wearing your nasty boots in their home?
No.
So it's these little things that we have to get a grip on. Like, we have to step back and look at what we're doing. And from the marketing standpoint, it's the same thing. That's why I love you saying this stuff, unprovoked. It's like unprompted. I love it, because if you're a marketer who's going to work with my people, right, you have to understand these little things. When you build value, you have to be able to see these things that, like, even in my book, it seems really common, very foundational, but it's eye-opening because they just don't get it. They don't have the ability to step back and look and say, how do we add value in the littlest ways? I'll give you one more example. You know, when something went wrong on a job, so now you have an angry client. I'm air quoting angry client, right? So you're going to come back. So I come back, and here's what I learned to say. It's one simple sentence. Everyone should take this away. What can I do to make it right? If you just ask that question, it's going to be way less than you think.
Yeah.
Okay. You say, well, if you could just pick that trash up over there that blew in the bushes, and that'd be that, I'd feel a lot. Okay, great. Done. Do it right now. I'll do it. And you're done. You're thinking they want a refund. That, and they want some trash picked up.
No, it's so true. And so I have a story that I can share where that goes wrong, but I can also tell you that there's a principle that ties into this well, where say you're a GC and you had subs and the subs didn't do the good job. Well, they're not angry at the subs because they don't know who the subs are. They're angry at you, right? You be more angry than them. When they come in and be like, can you believe this? They ruined this carpet. And you go, oh my God, I cannot believe it. I'm calling those guys and firing now. They'll never work in this town again. And then all of a sudden the client will back up and be like, well, yeah, I mean, it's just a little mud. I mean, I'm sure as carpet cleaner, then we'll take care of that for you. There can only be one angry person in the boat, right? Alex Hermosi, I don't know if he came up with it, but he's constantly preaching this idea. And it's a great idea, because if they feel that you're taking the problem as seriously as they are, or more seriously, then they'll all of a sudden back off. The same thing with the stuff in the bushes. Like, how can I make this right? Well, yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal. Just, maybe pick up the nails outside. Like, I don't want my kids stepping on them, right? So a perfect example of this is we had our roof redone right after we moved in. It was a very old roof. We were going to do standing seam metal. We were very excited because, it's a 100-year roof. You replace it, you never have to replace it again. And we have a very challenging roof. We live in a Victorian house, so it's very steep.
They're putting so many cuts. Oh, my gosh.
So not a cheap roof. Not a cheap roof. This is not a, $10,000 and you're done kind of roof. And so we came on, they started working, and, everything's going fine, and they're it's slow, and we had to wait a long time because it's summer and roofers are busy. They finally start. They get about halfway done with the roof, and they're like, all right, we have a job closing. We're going to bring another team in, and they're going to rip off the rest of the roof to speed this up. And then they leave. At the end of the day, roof is off, and it was starting to look a little stormy, and they're like, we checked the radar. I think the storm's going to pass us, but just in case we put some tarps up there, just in case some water falls, it doesn't come into your house. Fantastic. That night, it's in August, and in this part of Pennsylvania, we get torrential rainstorms that just spring up out of nowhere in August. And we had one of the worst rainstorms in the entire time I've lived here. It completely destroyed our house. We had to gut every single wall in our house. It ruined everything, because even though only half the roof was undone, so much water came in, it destroyed rooms all the way down. The water was pooling in the basement. There was so much water. Like, I walked in my front door after coming home from dinner, and there was a literal waterfall coming through my house of water. And so immediately I'm like on the phone, and they're not picking up. No one's picking up the phone. And then I'm getting more and more frustrated. So I'm calling my home insurance company, and they're like, well, we'll send Serve Pro out there and all this stuff. And I'm trying to navigate all this. And I'm thinking, well, at least they'll call me in the morning. They don't call me in the morning. They don't call me until Monday, right? I even called, like, they had a number, like, hey, if there's ever like an issue, you can call this number. We'll get back to you immediately. No response until Monday. They also were supposed to show up the next day to work on the roof, and sent me an email that they weren't going to be coming. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I just had this, not even mentioning like, hey, by the way, we're sorry that, the tarp, we didn't tack the tarp down and it rained all through your house. And it just continued that way. And everything was a fight. Everything was like, just do the right thing, guys. And so it got to the point that I got tired of them, and I sent them a certified letter saying, I'm taking you to court. I'm taking you to court, and I'm going to sue you for the entire cost of the project plus damages. And and then I offered a settlement. And even that didn't get any attention. So I called the local news channel that does the criminal contractor kind of stuff. Right. And I called her, and she's on the phone with me. She's like, this is a really big deal. And I was like, yeah. I was like, they ruined my entire house. And she's like, all right, I'm going to go call them to verify the story. And as long as I get enough, we'll come out and do a segment for you. And this was the big local NBC affiliate, that everybody watches. So within 5 minutes, my phone rings with the owner of the company, Mr. Donaldson. So I hear we have a problem. I was like, we have a big problem, Chuck. And so I had to get the media involved just to get this guy to pick up a phone and say the exact line you just said. What can I do to make this better? Right? Yeah. It should never get to that point. If you mess up, if something goes wrong, just own up to it and fix it. Don't drag this thing out. I mean, it took probably 6 weeks just to get the insurance money. So in the meantime, my wife and I are living in 10 by 10 feet room in our house, the only room that wasn't touched by water. And that whole time, we don't have any money coming in from insurance. So we can't fix anything. We can't hire contractors. We can't do anything. And all he would have had to done, he has all the connections. He has builders. He should have just sent people in and be like, hey, we're going to make this right. Right. And he could have avoided the insurance claim entirely. He could have just said, listen, the damage is extensive, but drywall's cheap. We'll fix it. Yeah. And let's not make this a bigger issue. But
yeah, it's not an uncommon thing, and that's again, the bad part, out there. So it's the good thing is there are great contractors out there who do the right stuff. And I am fortunate to work with most of them, or a lot of them, I should say, but trying to turn it. And that's why that's a great story, because you can't, I'm just going to say that company, that person, you can't fix. I can't fix them as a business coach. You can't fix them market, because they have a mindset there's no fixing that. They need to be out of business is what, okay. They need to go find another line of work. But because there are certain things and certain levels you just can't fix. People who don't do high quality work, you can't fix that. Okay. 100%. So, and you probably run into this as well. When you're looking to take on a client, they want your service, just like someone wants me. I'm investigating them as much as they're investigating me. Because I can't work with people who aren't delivering high value, who aren't experts at what they do, excellent craftsmen, whatever that is. If there's a plumber, they're a great plumber, right? They do everything right. I have to walk them through their processes, even if they're not written out and perfect, but how do you do work? What does it mean to you? Just like sharing some stories, it's important to know. And I think the big takeaway here is really understanding how critically important that is, that you look through the customer's eyes. Everything you do in your business, whether it's marketing or you're coaching or you're installing a toilet, you have to see it from the customer's vantage point. And that goes into how you speak to them, right? You're not in all these business terms or the special, the hidden world of HVAC. You know what I mean? You're speaking in these terms and stuff they don't get into that. They want their home to be warm. That's what they want. They don't need to know all the ins and outs of how you're going to bend they don't need all that. So it's a really good takeaway that when you start to look at it from the customer's eyes, you can build a much better business. Your marketing can be on point because you understand their pain. You understand the problems that they face. That's what you want to talk about. They don't care how great you are. People really don't care how great you are. What they care about is you understand their pain. Because if just like you have a construction horror story. And I do, and he does, and she does. Everybody's got one. Okay. Oh, yeah. If you've been around any time.
If you're a homeowner, you have at least one nightmare construction story.
Right. So that's, so we're fixing that, right? We want to fix all that, from a marketing standpoint, from a business coaching standpoint, we want to fix that kind of stuff. And the guys who are willing to do that, they become the top 10%. Because those are the guys, the top 10% of any industry. Those are the high performers. Those are guys who are willing to find more value, who are willing to improve their process, who are willing to nurture the relationship of a new customer, a past customer, a current customer, right? They understand the value of that. So let's talk about that a little bit from a marketing standpoint. Okay, and what that really means to you to kind of get that. Like we began, you get clients and you keep clients. What does that really look like?
So if we can start with the get clients portion of it, because I think we're in very similar industries in terms of anyone can call themselves a marketer. Anyone can call themselves a contractor. I know some states are a little different. It's very easy to become a contractor in Pennsylvania, or so I'm told, right? It's like a form you fill out and you pay a $50 bill to the courthouse and like, you're a contractor now. Congratulations. So I know that is different, but the reality is even in states that have really high regulations on contractors, there's still bad contractors. So the system isn't perfect. And because of that, that's why it's so critical to make sure that you are collecting testimonials and reviews and things from happy clients so that when someone is doing that deep dive into you, they are looking into like, who is this person that I'm about to hire? They see all that stuff. One of the reasons I do shows like this is because it puts a face behind to the business. So when someone goes and I, send them a cold email to ask them if I can help them with their marketing, and they're like, who is this guy? And they Google my name, you find 100 interviews of me talking about marketing. Right? It's not a mistake. I didn't show up here because I was in the right place at the right time. Like, no, this is a effort on my team's behalf to get me out in front of as many people as possible to build that trust and to show like I know what I'm talking about. I'm not some spring chicken that just woke up yesterday and was like, I'm going to be a marketer, right? So like the effort that you put in to the work needs to equally be matched by going and capturing those referrals and testimonials and putting yourself out there. Like if you are a really great contractor and you're proud of your work, post it. Go and shoot a little video before the walkthrough with the client and say like, we just finished this bathroom. It looks phenomenal. Here's all the features. Client wanted this, client wanted that. That kind of stuff goes a long way when people are considering whether you are going to actually do the work. I can't tell you the number of times, I put out a call out there for bids for something, and I get people that don't even have a website. It's like, what are you doing, man? Like, how am I supposed to know if you're even legit in the slightest? And then when it comes to the retention, once you have them as a client, really, I think the key thing that most home service businesses miss is reoccurring revenue. They look at everything as a project, right? I'm bidding on a bathroom. It's just a bathroom. Buddy, it's never just a bathroom. It's a bathroom, and you're going to do such a good job on the bathroom. They say, hey, can you look at my kitchen cabinets? They're wonky. And then after the kitchen cabinets, I really been thinking about doing a new island. And so like you can either sit back and wait for those opportunities, or you can take charge of those opportunities and either build an offer that's specifically like one of my favorite offers that I've never seen anyone do. And I'm sure there's someone out there doing it, but I would sign up in a heartbeat, is a monthly handyman service where I pay you a monthly fee and one day a month you show up and just tackle all my handyman stuff for me, right? It's such a good business model. You get the check every month for whatever you charge for a day's labor of doing this and that. And then you give them the option to bank that time. So if they have a really big project and they want to save up, they can pay you overtime for it. So it's like, that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is just when you finish the bathroom, be like, hey, I noticed when I was walking up and down the stairs, there's a broken piece of trim on the stairs. Do you want me to take care of that for you before we close you out? Oh, yeah, that'd be great. That thing's been bothering me for years. Just be observant. Look at it through the client's perspective. When you're walking through their home for a week, notice all the little broken things. Notice that the door is slightly not off the hinges or it doesn't close quite right. Notice that, their air duct, if you're an HVAC guy and you're doing a cleaning, hey, if you notice that there's a hole in the system, offer to patch it. Like say, hey, you know what? I noticed your filter's dirty. You want me to swap that out for you? Those little things are what can turn a small job into a big job, but you have to ask for it. If you're just coming in with this tunnel vision of, I'm just here to do this thing and then I'm going to leave, you leave so much more money on the table. And I had a concrete contractor that came in to do some work for me, and he came in and did the work and he left. I was like, okay, that's fine. And then I had put out a call, and he was in a network of other contractors, and I had put out a call for some other work. And he's like, hey, you didn't tell me you needed all that stuff. I can do that for you. And I was like, Well, you didn't ask. I just assumed you just did concrete. Like, you didn't say that you could also build a bookshelf or whatever it was, right? But if he would have just taken 5 minutes at the end and be like, what else can I help you with? Like, that is the point. When I'm looking satisfied at the thing I just spent a bunch of money on, if someone was like, hey, if you're happy with this work, I can stay an extra hour and fix that door for you. Easy. And the contractors that I've kept around all do that. They finish a job and go, hey, I noticed this. Can I take a look at that for you?
Yeah, I think there's two things to that. And first, we call it LPV, lifetime profitable value. That's how we always have to look at our customers. Okay, if I'm roofing, siding, windows, if I do the roof, I'm not going to do the roof and then say, hey, see you in 30 years. I won't come back to this worn out, but people do that. They literally do. I'm like, because they have siding and windows. And you're going to need to replace those, maybe not today, but in the next few years. So it goes from a $15,000 client to a $65,000 client. I use car dealers, same thing. Car dealers are everywhere. But if they take care of me, if they nurture me, I have a wife, I have 6 kids who now all drive. What am I worth to that? Buying new cars every 3-4 years? I'm a 7-figure client to that car dealer. But they don't care. I mean, yeah, there's car dealers everywhere, but if they built that, that's 7 figures. I'm one family. So over the next 15, 20 years, I'm worth over $1 million to them, in car purchases, but they don't, they don't give you the time of day. So it's just like you said, also you've got that. Plus you have to remember any kind of contract, anytime you're in someone's home, okay, this business, when they call it home services, a service business is a relational business. It's not a transactional business. It's not, sweat this pipe, do it, fix my thing, and you're out. I'll give you 50. It's relational. So that attention to detail, like you're talking about, Drew, with you see the creaky door, you see this thing, that builds relationship. It shows you care. Okay. You're a professional, right? But you have to, that's what you're nurturing. That's how, and even if you don't have anything to fix in our home today, if you built a relationship next month, or when the kid takes his bicycle and rides it through the patio door, you know what I mean, and breaks up, you're in, right? So it's like, stuff's always going to happen. You're always going to be there. So really great points.
So, I mean, like, here's the thing. Relationships are built on trust. And yet contractors oftentimes, because this is just the way business is done, and contractors aren't the only one in this group. I've seen photographers do the same kind of thing. But don't upcharge your materials. List the fair value of what they would have to go and pay at Home Depot. Make your money on the labor. Charge more for the labor. I'm not saying leave money on the table. I'm not saying pull food out of your kid's mouth. But be honest about the cost. Because if they look at that and they go, yeah, you know what? That fan was $165 at Home Depot. That immediately builds trust that this guy's not trying to screw me over, right? But if they go and pick out a fan at Home Depot and they take a picture of the price, and then your estimate comes in and it's twice the price, they're going to be like, why is he paying twice as much for the same fan, right? And that immediately erodes trust before you even get the job. So why not, if you want to, if you have a goal number for what you want to hit, add it onto the labor, because the labor is where the real value is created. You going to Home Depot or ordering it on Home Depot and having it delivered, there's not really, I can do that, right? I can organize a Home Depot delivery of materials. And I used to have to do that when I worked with less scrupulous contractors early on and before we found the one we use now. I would never trust them to order the materials, because every time they'd send me the estimate, they'd be charging me, $108 for a box of screws. And I'm like, really? Like, oh yeah, great. You're only charging me $25 an hour for labor, but the materials are like, absurd for what this project is. So it's stuff like that. And then also, a relationship can't be built on a once in 30 year or once in 10 year time period. The one thing good car dealerships do that's really effective is that they continue to bring the car in for service, right? That's why they sell service plans and long-term warranties. And hey, we'll do your oil change free for the first 10 years or whatever their offer is. It's to get you back in the business. Similarly, if you're a roofer and you do gutters and windows as well, why not get them signed up for biannually gutter cleaning? It gives you an opportunity to go back and rebuild the relationship. Yep, hey, we're just stopping by for your gutter cleaning. You don't have to give it for free. You can charge them for it. But I don't know a person on earth that wants to clean their gutters. It's not exactly anyone's favorite thing to do. Get up on a ladder and, get all messy and have to drag a hose up there. Most people are willing to pay for it. And most people would be more willing to pay for it with someone they trust than just going to the yellow pages and looking up gutter cleaning and worry about a guy falling through my window. So why not just go and partner with a gutter cleaner, even if you don't do it, partner with them and say, hey, you're going to serve my clients as a sub. And here's the list of people that you need to go see and the dates they want it done. Bing, bang, boom.
Yeah, I love it. What I used to do with my roofing company was after we did the roof, I'd say you're going to get a free yearly inspection.
Beautiful.
We're going to be up. We're going to make sure the roof is doing what it's supposed to do. And they're like, oh, well, that's awesome. No one's doing that. So I'm giving them a free inspection, right? Translated to free sales call.
Yeah.
Like, I noticed your windows. Go back to that thing, right? I noticed your siding. You're doing this, whatever. Oh, hey, do you know anyone who needs my services? You're going to talk to these people. You're going to stay front of mind once you're out there. Of course, they're on the email drip campaign and everything else, but that physical showing up and getting up there, taking a look at everything. Hey, this looks good. Hey, I notice your gutters are getting kind of bad. Hey, you know what? Maybe you need covers. Are you really tired of doing this? How about we put some covers on these gutters? And you give them, I'm just saying, like, it's a sales call, but what a benefit to them, that free inspection every year. And guys 100%. Can do it in HVAC. Come in, we can, and you can give them maintenance programs. You can do a free inspection of their furnace. You can do whatever you want, which, like you said, you need filters, you need this, you need that. So we kind of put all that stuff together. Really good points on that. I think when people have to think differently, they really have to start thinking differently. I mean, I think that's the theme of our entire conversation here is how you really drive in value. How are you thinking differently?
And what is the story they're going to tell about you? So, like, two things with this contractor that I'm working with now that really, like, knocked my socks off. So at one point, my daughter had just been born, and of course she's like 3 months old. And so he's here doing something. I think he was installing a window or something for us. And my wife and I were having a conversation about, hey, we need to go get this thing at the store. And I couldn't leave work, and she didn't want to take my daughter out because my daughter was not good in the car. And so we were just talking about, like, oh, I'll have to do it after work. This guy took him upon himself to, while he went out to the hardware store to get supplies, he went and picked up the thing at the grocery store. It was totally unexpected. It was totally above and beyond. But you know what? That's now part of the story I tell when someone's looking for a contractor and why they need to hire my guy over someone else. Another time, one of the car batteries had died, and my wife was trying to go somewhere, and he went out and jumped her car for her. Like, he just happened to be walking by, and she came in the house looking frustrated, and he's like, oh, what's going on? Car battery's dead. I need to jump. He pulled his truck around and jumped. And it's like, it costs you nothing except a little bit of time, and they're still paying for the time. I still paid him for the 20 minutes, right? So he's not losing anything. But the amount of good rapport that he's building, the goodwill that he's building within doing those little things that weren't expected, they weren't in the contract, no one could foresee them. It's the same concept as like sending them a gift basket or sending them I had one guy, this wasn't this contractor, another contractor, he was working and he had to disconnect the gas lines from our range. And so they sent us a pizza that night. They're like, hey, we know you can't cook tonight, so pizza's on us. Yep. Totally unexpected. It cost them $40. I have not, they're an appliance company that was doing it. I bought every single appliance from them in the entire life of the house. I'd never go anywhere else because they treated me right. So it's just that, it's those little things. It really amounts to a lot of value.
Yeah, it's really, and when you've got, and people say, oh, that's great when you're a one-man show or a three-man show. No, it's the way you train your people. It's a process. It's a process of doing business. This is how, at this particular company, we do business. Like I have one contractor, a remodeler, and one of the first things they tell them, hey, this is going to be 2 months. Are you going to go get an Airbnb? Are you going to get a hotel? Because this first month, you're probably not going to want to be here.
Yeah.
Because this dust is now if they see now that we're not going to stay, okay, well, I'm just going to let you know we're going to like hermetically seal this area off from the rest of the house. So you're going to be eating out, or you're going to be cooking on the grill or something, because like we're tearing this up. So that upfront acknowledgement of that gives them an opportunity, right, to make the plans and everything else. let them know that that's going to happen. But again, it's a part of doing business. We understand what our work entails, and we understand the hot points, the discomfort, the unsettling aspects. Like you said, super clean when you're done every day. Same thing. It's cleaned up. It's orderly all the time. I had a thing with my guys with our trailers. I used to tell them, Drew, I'd be like, listen, if I show up to the job site and I open up that trailer and I can't walk from the back to the front without stepping over something, look out.
Yeah.
Because our customers see it. And when our customers see disorganization in the way we work, in our materials, inside our trailer, what do they think's happening inside the house? It's the same thing. See, there's a congruency in everything you do, and it matters. It completely matters.
100%. I mean, if you show up in a beat up 1984 Ford truck with a missing window and duct tape and plastic over it, with a bunch of secondhand power tools thrown in the back all helter-skelter, and a client sees that, there's a good chance they're going to send you home and be like, oh, my wife has double COVID, so you can't come in the house. Because that's the first impression. And I'm not saying you have to go and buy a $70,000 truck and have it shrink wrapped with your logo or any of that. It's just like, listen, if you have an old truck, if you have a missing window, take care of it, right? Like, put a toolbox in the back, organize your tools, put a cap on it, do something to make sure that person, when the first time they see you, they're like, yeah, he drives an old truck, but at least it looks like it's in good shape. Like, I have an old Ford Ranger from the 80s. It's seen better days. It's got a nice patina on it. But you know what? I could pull up to somebody's house, and I don't think they'd look sideways at me if I offered to do work for them, right? Like, it's still nice enough where they're not going to, like, worry about, like, wow, he really doesn't take care of his equipment. How's he going to treat my house?
Yeah, I think it's, I like to say it like this: be a pro, be a professional. Okay. Like, know that this matters. Okay. Then what you do, where things are, the appearance. I write about this a lot and everything else, the whole approach. We could spend 2 more hours about this too. It's just, there's process to everything. There's consistency. There's congruency with what you do. And when you're able to step back and look at that, that's when you begin to build the business that people value, that they understand. And when you present that proposal and you are the highest guy of all 3 or 4 contractors, they go, but I want you. Because everything you've done, from the truck to this, the approach to the door, to everything you've done, you sat down with me, explained everything item by item. You're the guy I trust. Like you said, it's trust. You've built it. They get the emails, they got the referrals, they've got the testimonials, they've seen all this stuff, right? So it's all little things that compile to the final, right? To the final thing, the final impression that they're able to sign on your contract line instead of someone else's, even if it's more.
Communication is such a missing link here for a lot of contractors, because, like, listen, if you're going and doing an estimate, that estimate should be delivered by end of day. That's your best. If you really want to know the hack to closing more business, send it to by end of day, because that's when they're in the mindset of, they just met with you, they have the most goodwill built up, you wowed them in the sales presentation. That's the time to send them, if you're going to not follow your advice and send it via email anyway, right?
Yeah.
But if you are going to do the sales presentation, which is definitely better, especially for high, if you're doing, it's a $500 job, you might be able to get away with it. But if you're presenting a $350,000 full reno, then, like, the reality is, you book that call by the time you leave that house, and you show up on time, if not early, with, their mail in your hand, said, hey, brought this in from the street, thought you might want it, right? So, like, that kind of stuff. And then if we're middle of the project and I send you a text message or I send you an email, answer it. Don't make me wait 3 or 4 days to get a response back from you when I'm confused about the status of the project. Like other things, check in with me before you leave, so I know you're leaving the house. I can't tell you, like, I had one guy, like, literally stop work because it was raining, right? And it wasn't raining hard. He was just doing exterior work that couldn't be done in the rain. He just left. He left all his tools on my porch, like front porch, right by the main street. So I'm like, well, clearly he wouldn't have, like, left all his tools here because, like, someone could steal. And I live in a pretty safe town, but, like, who's going to leave a bunch of power tools on a front porch, like, and expect them to be there next day? So I'm searching my property for this guy. And then I start thinking, oh my God, he must have like cut his finger off and ran to the hospital or something. And so eventually I call his, it's after 5 at this point. So the next day I call them and I'm like, hey, is he all right? Like, I'm all like freaking out that I'm going to have like some kind of liability claim on me. And they're like, oh yeah, he's fine. He'll be back today. It was just raining, so he had to leave. I was like, okay, would it kill him to knock on the door and be like, hey, it's starting to rain. I'm going to leave my stuff here. I think it's going to be safe. There's nothing terribly expensive in those bags. Like, at least then I could have said, well, yeah, don't leave him on the front porch. I don't want to risk him getting started. Leave him on the back porch or something like that. But he's just left, right? So it's like those little touch points of communication are so, so critical. And I think because people are inside their business and they're managing 15 proposals at once, they don't realize how essential it is to communicate with each person as an individual instead of just an item on your to-do list.
Yeah, it is the number one complaint in contracting. Customer complaint is communication. It's number one. So yeah, they really, again, we go back to building processes and systems. We do with ours. We have a customer portal. They communicate through there. So it's not just a phone call all the time. They have a place where that call is registered. They can text it. It's all there. It's answered. We've even gone as far with a lot of my clients as we create a client advocate, and they have one person to talk to. Now, there's project managers and stuff like that too, but this literally is this person's job is to communicate everything. They contact her directly. She talks to the project manager. She talks to the owner. She takes through there. So there's only one point of contact, and that person's a doer, which means they get things done. They get the answers. They return them because their whole job is that. So it cuts out all that delay, all that miscommunication. It's an amazing thing. You got to work at a certain level to be able to do that. But man, the customers love that. It's like having their own concierge. It's amazing.
We literally just hired for a role called client advocate with that exact job description at the beginning of the year, because I saw that as we were getting bigger, it's that stair step we talked about, right? Like the bigger you get, the more support you need. And I saw the need of someone to come in and be that first line of defense, or not defense, but that first line of communication that was going to be able to keep up with all the needs of all the clients and not worry about this client going and talking to my project manager and getting her off track so that her productivity slumps because she's answering questions that she doesn't know all the answers to. And so we just put this role in place. And I, told my whole team, like, every morning when you come in, you talk to her first. You give her the download of everything you're working on. So if the client calls and says, hey, what's the status of my project? She can go and rapid fire. Here's where this video is. Here's where this campaign is. Here's where this is. Here's when we expect to launch, what have you. So yeah, if you can afford it, having someone be that point person, hugely beneficial.
Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, it's great minds think alike, Drew. So we're aligned here. This has been great.
Nothing less from this conversation.
That's right. It's been awesome. This has been really, really great. We've got a ton of great takeaways from this. And I know people are getting a ton of value from it. So with that being said, how do people actually follow you, get in touch with you if they're looking to explore maybe some marketing possibilities?
Sure.
Where do they need to go?
So website is growhouse.org, GROHAUS. My sign's in the background, but it's kind of cut off, so I don't know if it'll show up in the video or not. But GROHAUS.org. You can also find me on X and Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. Those are where I'm kind of most prevalent. But I also have a free marketing coaching session every Friday that anyone is welcome to join. You just have to reach out to me to get an invite. So I don't throw the link out there just to make sure I can do a little bit of pre-filtering, make sure we don't get any rabble-rousers in there. But that is a huge benefit. And if any of your clients are out there currently running Facebook ads and are not happy with the performance, I have a workshop that is, we're going to record it live on 2/5. You can buy it now, and then after 2/5, it'll be available on demand. It's only $47. It's the exact ad strategy I run with my clients that we've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars developing. So it's a really good way that if you're not happy with the results you're getting on Facebook ads or on Twitter ads or wherever else you might be marketing on social media, this is a really good strategy to implement to make those systems work for you a lot better.
Oh, that's awesome. We'll have all that in the show notes. That is fantastic. That is quite an offer. Thank you, Drew, for this. This has been a blast. And it's always nice when you can throw around a couple stories.
Yeah, well, it's always great to find
we all got
someone.
Our stories, and it's kind of fun. Yeah.
it's always great to talk to someone who understands value, because I think that is like such a, and I mean, that's all we really talked about today, just in like 15 different lenses, but it's foundational, man. Like this is what separates the good from the great. This is what separates like the people who are going to sell their business for $1 million and the people who are going to be, die penniless. This is the thing. And it's like, I could teach you all this marketing strategies in the world, but nothing is going to change how you treat your customers. So
good.
I think this is
good, man.
I hope this is as gold to everybody listening as it was to me and Richard.
Yes, great. So I'm sure it is. This has been fantastic, Drew. I just want to thank you for coming on. This has been a pleasure as always. And thanks for bringing the value to our people. And everybody,
Always happy.
We will see you on the next STS Sharpen the Spear podcast. See ya. And don't forget, revenue feeds the ego, profit feeds the family. So if you want to see how I can show you at least $100,000 in hidden annual profits in less than 3 minutes, and not only show you where, but how to create that 100K in 6 months or less without additional advertising or marketing spend, guaranteed, just go to sharpenthespearcoaching.com. See how truly simple it is. That's sharpenthespearcoaching.com. Do it now.